For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Anchika Verma and I run a small initiative in Delhi called Offset Projects. Um, I think over a period of time, I just want to say it's more like an experimental lab more than anything else. And at Offset, we do try and look at the act of reading photographs and understanding photography through conversations. We've been very lucky during this pandemic to have many practitioners and artists join us to share their thoughts and their process about their work with us. And we've been even luckier, I think, over this month to have Pro-Helvetia actually facilitate and support the conversations for today with Arun and for a few more that will go on till the end of this year. So stay tuned, we've got a lot coming. Arun's actually joining us from Kanyakumari today, although he is based out of Chennai. He's a documentary photographer who's been doing some incredible work across the country. And today we're going to get a sneak preview and a peek into some of his practices. Uh, I think I met Arun at Chennai Photo Biennale during the
Workshop.
first edition. We were both in the same workshop, and I was very excited to see that we'll be talking about one of the works that I saw even at that time. Arun's also a student who graduated out of National Institute of Design, and he's a member of PEP Collective. It's a collective of about 17 photographers. All from around Tamil Nadu, is it? Am I right in that, Arun? Or spread across now?
People are from now, I think spread across because Ashik is from Kerala.
Right. Okay, great. But let's start our talk with Arun today. Thank you so much for joining in. How's the weather going right now over there, Arun? How's the pandemic?
Morning it was raining, now it's fine.
That's good to know.
Something like I mean, there's in between, like not very sunny. But now everything is over. No, now
Now
it's okay.
that's so we're not going to listen to some rain pattern behind you. Some
No. I don't think so.
no.
Because I couldn't guess. I mean, it's in the twilight, so I don't know if it's going
Ah,
to rain or not. But it mostly won't be.
won't be. Okay. Should we start actually
Mm.
with talking about your work from National School of Design, like the work that you started making during National School of Design program, and also talk about what got you to NID looking at photography? Was this something that you were curious about right from the beginning?
See, what we can do is we can start from the final semester's work to the
Sounds
last.
good.
Because the three works I'm going to showing is done during my college time. So
Okay.
I'm not going to show any new work which I have done after the college time, which is still not in a very good shape. So
So
let's see
should
from
we start?
the
Mhm.
final semester work, then the
That sounds good.
dissertation as well as the graduation project.
Great. So maybe we can start with your work called The Urban Mountain,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
can talk to us about how that work started and what kind of questions were in your mind when you started that work.
Um, See, Urban Mountains is my classroom project, which is in my last semester.
Hmm.
Actually, what happened, like the second semester or the first semester, we don't do a project, but second and third we need to do.
Okay.
But when I came to NID, actually, I don't have any idea of photography. Like, I was interested in looking into images. So during my engineering, I have a habit of collecting photographs, all the wallpapers and stuff, arranging it nicely. And during my pastime, I used to see it, but that is nothing to do with photography. Then uh, through some movies or the photographers I have seen, maybe mostly they are wedding photographers. I haven't seen any serious documentary work before I come to NIT.
Right.
So I got into I got into the interest of photography once I finished my engineering. But that is like to how to handle the camera and beautiful cat picture and stuff. But then I want to learn photography, but I don't know how to do how to or where to learn because my network is very weak. Then during that time only I came to know about NIT. Then I just joined there because it is government college, so I thought it
Hmm.
will be trustworthy because I know there is nobody to say about NIT to me,
Right.
or what they will teach in NIT. I have no idea, so I just blindly came. Then
Hmm.
so first full semester, then it was about the basics of foundations of design. So then that time also I didn't get any idea. Then the second semester, I started learning about photography. I was completely lost because I was expecting to take amazing um, cat pictures, no, and flowers and stuff. But
Right.
the thing, what is what is
Arun, I
thought
think
to me
we've
was not that.
frozen. Ah,
Can you
you're
hear
back.
me now?
Yes, yes, you're back.
Okay, I think there should be some technical glitch throughout this video because I'm talking from my phone. I mean,
No
phone
worries.
hotspot.
We'll take care of that from our end.
Okay, just intimate me whenever
Okay,
there is a pause or freeze.
I'll do
And
that.
yeah, then what happened during the second semester and third semester? I was a little bit troubled, and I have no idea what to do, or because the the teachings which show some master's work, no, which is like beyond my thinking ability at that time. Then I was also searching for certain topics. I mean, here and there, wherever I go, I will be like, can I do a project on this one, that one? Because that's what the amount of thinking I had at that time.
Hmm.
Then I got a chance to go to Delhi Photo Festival 2013. 13,
Hmm.
yeah, 13. Then I saw works which is like which is somewhat inspiring in a way, how to put it, because I saw Amit Ray Stephen's work which is about the Kudangulam, no,
Right.
Kudangulam, which is
Yeah,
very close to
correct,
my
correct.
home. Then I am able to associate with photography. I was like, oh, okay, okay, because all the works which I was seeing is from Germany and some other country,
Right.
or Delhi I have never seen in my life. Okay.
Hmm.
So how could I associate with it? So when I saw this Kudunglam work, I was like, okay, something from our own side, which I can do. I can also do.
Hmm.
Then after that, a little bit of change happening. I was thinking about the stuffs which is around me. Then I got a chance to go to this Bangladesh Chobi Mela.
Chobi Mela, huh?
Then after that, there was that was journey, right? Like around 1 year
Right.
of time. Then looking into photographers who work from our own land. Then
Yeah.
I slowly the thing I am able to think about my own uh, you know my own surroundings or the environment, or what to do. Then
Hmm.
these urban mountains popped up because when I stayed in Chennai, there was a huge dump yard next to me. Then every time I scold about that dump yard to my friends, that was my like usual habit, like this is like
Right.
stupid and stuff. So
Right.
I started thinking about what are the things bothering me. Then for the proposal, I just gave this, but it was a vague idea. Then when I started doing, it got shaped up. So this is how this I came to this urban mountains project, and also this urban mountains project. It is not just one incident because I'm from a remote village called Palkulam from Kanyakumari district, which is close to the seashore. Then
Okay.
during my fifth standard, we moved to township. That is only 7 kilometers away, but that time it was very far. We moved for the convenience of schoolings and the uh,
Okay.
office office of
Mhm.
my parents. Then that was the first time I'm seeing the dustbin for my life, because we lived in a village. We had a small I don't know how to call it. It's a manure uh,
Like a
pit
composting pit
pit
or something.
composting pit, yeah. It's
Hmm.
so we usually throw all the waste to that, then it will become a fertilizer
Yeah.
for the field.
Hmm.
Then we came here, moved to township, that everything got changed in my life. So packet milk first time, then the dustbin to everything. Then that was the first time I'm seeing people coming and collecting this garbage. So there I saw the dump yard, which is not a proper dump yard. Then these are the things more, slowly accumulated in mind. But I connected it later because I won't say this is the only reason. So that's how these urban mountains somewhat reflected.
Should we see some of the images as well? That would be really nice. Do you want to share your screen, Arun? Then we can see some of the photographs also from Urban Mountain.
Okay, I'm doing it without sharing the screen.
No worries.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah, one can see.
Okay. So this one is from Ahmedabad, close to NIT Paldi.
And Ahmedabad also has a pretty, I mean, they have pretty big dumping sites as well, right? Like there's quite a lot of.
Yeah, this one is called Pirana. It's 82 acres, I guess. It's almost full. This is
Okay.
and few other dump yards from Delhi. One is from Okla, other one is from Ghaziabad, and one
Right,
more dump yard. I forgot the name.
right. So, I mean, were these uh, photographed because you happened to be in certain cities, or were you actually, I mean, were you looking out also to see what are like the big dumping sites in some way? I don't know.
Mm, see when I started talking about the idea, no, what to photograph or what is the project, then this dump yard came. Then I
Hmm.
finally come to know about the dump yard nearby the college, nearby the Poly campus, other campus. So
Hmm.
I got access somewhere here, like first Ahmedabad. Then I started exploring what are the other dump yards. Then I came to Delhi. Then
Hmm.
I want to go to Mumbai and Bangalore, but that it didn't happen.
Okay.
Chennai is very huge, but it's not very tall. It's
Okay, it's
huge in
wider.
this way. Yeah, it's wider.
Right. This is a beautiful image. It's like literally burning uh, with the volume of.
It's a natural gas. When you go to these dump yards, especially in Okla, I guess, there you could
Yeah,
see this water accumulated where you could see some bubbles. When you throw matchstick on it, it will
and
burn.
it
So it's
blows.
a
Yeah.
natural gas. Yeah.
I remember when I had just started working with journalism. When I started my photography with journalism as well, and one of the things that when you were a young photographer or an intern, which I was in a news space, uh, somehow everyone wanted you to go and shoot at the dump yard, and when I went over there, there were kids who made me do this, who
Mm-hmm.
said, wait, we'll go and get some matchsticks and we'll show you fire.
Oh,
And I said, what do you mean? And so that's what they were doing. They made kind of like a game out of it in some ways. And
okay.
uh, and I mean, obviously for me, I was really scared because I said, you guys, you don't need to, like, you should not be taking these fumes in at all. And it just kind of made you really think about how we were creating spaces also for people to exist around the dump yard. I mean, I'm sure that's something that you must have seen in Delhi, when you were here. And I wonder if these other concerns kind of had their own questions, that come up when you're visiting these sites. I can see that in some ways, visually, when you're approaching the project, there's a particular timeline and a particular photography aesthetic that like that is being used, whether it's a time lapse of a certain kind, or things of that sort. Um, were these decisions kind of for a particular reason within the work also?
Yeah. See, actually, when I went to this dump yards, initially I got a struggle of what to photograph. Okay, fine, I want to shoot dump yards and to say that this is what we leaving behind, after these all those name of development. I mean, if we live a very village lifestyle, for example, very organic lifestyle, things won't happen like this. But in the name of development, I mean, the people like me, who moved from a village to township for a better life, then in the name of better life, what we live here is something very bad. And
Hmm.
when I went there, all those things are in my mind, but I don't know how to photograph it. Like, because I go there, there are a lot of these deformed dogs and birds, then
Hmm.
the water, then finally it goes to that environmental problem. Okay, fine, but what to photograph? I just photograph the day-to-day activities happening in the dump yard, but that doesn't um, it is just showing what's happening there. Then I was thinking that that visual language was not working, as well as I was under the guidance of my faculties, right? Then they were also saying it's not working. Then what else to do? Then actually then I started narrowing down,
Hmm.
what I want to look into the dump yard. Like, it's very huge, looks like a mountain.
Hmm.
In the night it looks like some mountain which has a moon rise, then some forest fire kind of stuff, which exactly
Right.
imitates the natural mountain, but does exactly opposite to what the natural mountain is supposed to be. then
Right.
then okay, fine, then look into only that perspective or that aspect. Then I went into this dump yards at night. Then I started photographing just the forms of the dump yard. Then now when
Hmm.
people see it, it looks like some nice mountain, but actually it is not. So this approach, no, I mean, this is
Hmm.
one of the approach. I did few other approach which didn't convey what I'm trying to say. This one conveyed, and people guided me. They were also very happy with, I mean, they were just checking whether the thing is working or not. Then it
Right.
worked. Then fine. Then I concluded in this visual style.
Right. Right. I mean, it's very interesting because, like you did say, that in many ways, the kind of formations and, in the photographs, visually, what we do see, a lot of it looks like mountain ranges, like if you imagine, if this was not a photograph, but if you could manipulate the colors in certain ways, they would become like these stunning landscape images of a very different kind. These are also extremely beautiful and very evocative landscape images for me. But the landscape that we are talking about here is very different from what they kind of, trigger in our mind. Like, you actually think about a mountain, which is why, I mean, even your title is the urban mountain. Um,
Mm.
and I guess, the history that you were talking about, where you grew up as well in a space where this this idea and this volume of waste, of consumption, to this degree, did not uh, did not exist in this particular format. And I wonder, like, for the questions that did come up, it's nice to see that you were working with different treatments and different visual aesthetics, something that one might have seen more in the new spaces which we're talking about, which was the daily life in some ways. But over here, I think it kind of takes it away from the everydayness and makes us relook at it, differently, and kind of also triggers us to think further about what we are doing, with how we live, and the kind of lifestyles that we have chosen. Um, if I remember correctly, you had mentioned, right before the talk, that you were actually doing this work for almost about 6 months in 2015.
Yeah, um, I started it by February, I guess, when I
Mm-hmm.
proposed this project. Then I did till April for the first phase. Then the second phase is again the next 3 months. After that, I stopped for a while. Then after 1 year, I photographed few.
Okay.
So after that, I couldn't do anymore. You know.
Okay. Why? I mean, was there a particular reason for that break in the middle, or?
The thing is, then I came to Nagarkoil for some time. After that, one year, 1.5 years, I was in Ahmedabad. So it's the same landscape. I don't know what to photograph more than. Then I
Right,
need to travel to different cities. That didn't happen. That is the reason. Then it got diluted.
right, right, right.
Mm.
And while this was going on, you were also on another uh, photographic project, but one where you were not photographing as much. maybe, but you were looking at photographs a lot more, which is the Nathan Studio project. Was that kind of going almost at the same time?
Once I finished this Urban Mountains, then I'm in that next like doing a dissertation
Semester?
for the
Right,
not
right.
the it's not a semester, I would say. It's the time in between the graduation project and the final
Okay,
semester.
okay.
Yeah.
And so talk to us about Nathan Studio, and actually it might be good to backtrack a little bit and talk about also how looking at studios histories was something that was facilitated by Rishi, your course coordinator, your department head, in fact, and what the larger idea was with uh, the studio projects, and why and how you came upon Nathan Studio within that.
Okay. About Rishi's plan, Rishi was the mentor at NID, and even now, he was the
Mm-hmm.
one who's the real brain behind this Urban Mountains, as well as this about the dissertation. No, the dissertation thing is every student from NID need to concentrate on one studio or some family archives or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it actually started by rediscovering the history of photography. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we as a country, we haven't safeguarded all those negatives, no, like previous photographers. But we
Mm-hmm.
always get a chance to learn only from Western photographers, like mostly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as a country of this big population, we would have had more photographers, but we are actually learning from very less photographers from India because a lot of things are not preserved. So
Right.
NID initiated this thing to document or to preserve one photography work from each student's native, mostly, or their family, or wherever they like to do it. So in that way, I'm also need to do one work from my hometown. So
Right.
the ultimate aim is to, so if every student does one project, then in a timeline it becomes a bunch of work from Indian photographers, right? Like
Right.
I think
Right.
now around more than 80 dissertations are there in NID alone. So
Wow.
when I went to Kanyakumari, then I was thinking about discovering the history of photography from Kanyakumari district, because I have seen bits and pieces of a lot of old photographs from Kanyakumari, but
Hmm.
uh, I don't have any thread connecting it to it. Then I was thinking about why can't we do how the photography came to Kanyakumari. In that
Okay.
way the journey started. So
Hmm.
that was my initial idea. My initial idea was not to do the Northern Studio at all because I don't know anything about it. Then
Hmm.
when I started searching about the history of photography in Kanyakumari district, the most oldest photograph what I could go back is 1900s. Zakaria D. Cruz, he came to a temple close to Kanyakumari district. I mean, not close to, its Kanyakumari district,
Hmm.
and it's somewhat little far away. I mean, close to Kerala border.
Okay.
Then that was the oldest photograph I could find. From there, I'm started searching. Then I went to a lot of studios which is considered to be most oldest in Kanyakumari, but I couldn't get access, then through
Hmm.
them, through that research, I got a lot of interesting stuffs. In a way, people from Kanyakumari, they went to Tirunelveli and they studied photography under a American photographer. So I heard this story, but there is no evidence to back up all those words.
Right.
Then there was also two photography studios in Kanyakumari which works on sunlight. So they're specially called sunlight studios.
Okay.
Yeah, so they just open the roof and they need to get an appointment to go to that studio, and in a particular time they will photograph you in the open sunlight. So these are the techniques they actually learned from this American photographer. This is what
Hmm.
the current people at that studio said to me.
Okay.
But after that, they don't have anything to show to me, any negatives or any archives. They have hardly 10 to 15 pictures. Then
Hmm.
one more studio, I hear that they have all the archives, but they are not letting anybody to see it. Then, in a way, while I was talking to my friend, he's Jawahar, he's a journalist from Kanyakumari. Then he only said, I know a studio where they have preserved the archives of the poet, Tamil poet from Kanyakumari. His name is Kavimani Desivanayampillai. Then I went to this studio just to see the archive. Actually, I don't know about the photographer, and nobody knows about who photographed that poet. Just people know, this studio holds the photographs of the poet. Then what happened when I went there? They have around 64 glass negatives of the Kavimani Desai Vinayampillai. It
Wow.
was photographed by Adimala Perumal. He is the grandfather of the Nag Adi Shankar. Adi Shankar is the
Mhm.
grandson who is running the studio right now. Then
Could we also see
after,
the images as you share with us? I think that would be really nice. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was thinking
no,
about
no, that's a good idea. I will do
it
that.
might be fun to see also.
So he is actually Adimala Perumal.
Uh,
Um,
we can't see the photograph right now. Maybe you can bring it.
no, can you see it?
No. Do you want to stop sharing and then start again with the
Yeah,
desktop?
I will do that.
Hmm.
Sure.
Yes.
Is it there?
Yes, I can see Adi Mula Perumal.
Okay. So he is Adimala Perumal. So after visiting the studio, no, I came to know about the character of Adimala Perumal because I just thought his grandfather. He should be the photographer who did that. But actually, the
Hmm.
scene was not that. Adimala Perumal as a profession, he's a teacher at the government school, and photography is purely his passion. Then the thing interested me in this project is he did photography for a passion, but he documented a poet's life in a very nice way. He got a chance to meet this poet once. Then he photographed him. So this was the story I hear. Then while he came back and while developing, he dropped the glass plate. So the glass plate got broken. Then he was really upset. Then he was saying it to the person who connected him with the poet. Then he transferred the thing to the poet. Then the poet said to the person, what's the problem? Ask him to come back and photograph me throughout to my
Again.
life. It's okay. I mean,
Right.
in a way, it's a saying actually, not
Hmm.
literally. But
Hmm.
this guy took it very literally. Then he started photographing him, and in a way that he started photographing him. Then throughout his life, like he started photographing. Whenever he get a chance, he just go there and photograph his activity. Then he's also interested in literature at that time. So he whenever people come to meet Kavimani, he just makes appointment and go there and meet them as well as and photograph them. Then this habit started growing, and he became a huge fan of Kavimani. Then he changed his name to Kavimani Das, and that means the fan of our follower of Kavimani. Then he started writing poems.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, he's like he has too many personalities. Like apart from a
Right.
teacher, photography is his passion. Then he's a poet. He's a painter. He does life size paintings. Then he's a
Oh, wow.
proofreader. He's a block printer. Then he's a viewer. Then what else? Yeah, that's it, I guess.
That's
And
quite a bit. It's not just that's it.
can I? Okay, now it is good.
Is it going next? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Kavimani Desivanayampillai. Kavimani Desivanayampillai is a very a nice poet from Kanyakumari. He's someone who also has different personalities. For example, people who are very very much interested in the languages. He has a talent of reading all those stone scriptures, these
Hmm.
Tamil stone scriptures which dates back to 2000 years or something. So he worked on that as well. Um, he is also translator of Umar Khayyam's Urdu poems. So
Rubaiyat
he
of
did it in
Umar Khayyam.
Tamil. Yeah, his poems. He
Ah,
translated into Tamil.
okay.
So there's a lot to say about Kavimani, but it just goes on. So I'll start about Adimala Perumal. So Adimala Perumal, he studied till fourth standard. Then due to poverty, he stopped education. Then he started working at a viewers colony. So he basically views. So it was actually located in opposite to an astrologer's house. So
Hmm.
some mysterious person. So this person who came to visit that astrologer saw the god and goddess paintings on the wall of this weaving society. Then he went there and asked who did that. Then it was done by Adimala. That was the
Ah,
person who shaped Adimala Perumal to get into a proper training. So to draw and he introduced him with photography, but I don't know who's that person actually, because nobody
okay.
knows who's that person.
Unknown name for now.
Yeah, unknown name. And at the age of 16, Adimala Perumal bought his first camera. That
Right.
was around 1928, I guess.
Right.
Then these things happened slowly. I mean, this Kavimani thing happened a little bit later. Then
Right.
the interesting part of the Kavimani's work, what Adimala Perumal have done is, he started observing him. Then uh, he got an interest to photograph all his expressions, especially which is very native to the people who are in my place. For
Right.
example, if somebody is far away, they know all those expressions, like why are you doing this,
Ah,
and also he quoted it here, like makes a gesture of what is this.
what is this?
Yeah,
Right.
these are those quotes which Adimala Perumal have wrote on a paper at the sleeves, which the glass plate is in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and these are a few.
Really beautiful.
And this one, no, this is like, if somebody comes far away, then due to sun, people used to see like this, who
It's
is
so
that.
interesting
These are
because
like the uh, this is these are the things got my interest, because at that time, like, photography was should be very expensive and limited, and this
hmm,
guy got an interest to uh, document all the gestures which
yeah,
which of a person who he admired, that in a way very different for me, like for the
right,
period what he have photographed.
yeah.
And the left side is that the Kavimani was suffering from psoriasis, so he used to scratch all the time while you are conversing with him. So he want to photograph that as well, not in a way that he has psoriasis, but
But
that is
yeah.
a part of his life. He always does that.
Hmm. It's interesting because in many ways, what Adimula Perumal is doing here is almost like creating this book, which is like a guide to a different kind of a language. Like he's actually like just taking this particular gentleman's body language and you know Kavimani's body language suddenly becomes like a certain way of communicating in itself, and it's quite interesting to see that actually.
Then these are other specialist in literatures, is Vayabri Blake, who actually preserved a lot of palm leaf manuscripts, and he donated it to the National Museum of Calcutta, I guess. And,
Okay.
yeah, he's one of the major contributor and the linguistic. And he is connected with all those celebrities and stuff. This is the first
Hmm.
superstar of Tamil film industry, and other Tamil intellectuals. These are
So, is this when you actually turned up at Nathan's studio? Is Nathan's studio is obviously, the gentleman behind it is Adi Mula Perumal, and
yeah.
I'm just curious to know, did you have this particular idea in your mind already beforehand, or is it something that came up because you were there and you were researching? Did you have information about this beforehand?
Um, I, are you about to
I'll
say,
just,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
like,
I'll
okay,
just explain again. In the sense that, when you decided that, okay, you have to find a project that is connected to Kanyakumari, to your hometown for your dissertation, and you found out about Nathan's studio. At that time, did you know about Adi Mula Perumal's work? I mean, about this work already? Or is it that you were at the studio and you kind of came upon it? I mean, I'm wondering if this was a selection that you had to make from the studio archive, or was it something that's just been it's been there and no one's really been able to see it up until now?
no, actually, I have no idea who's Adimula Perumal.
Sorry.
Then I barely know about Nathan Studio. Nathan Studio was there, but I passed through it, but I never gave attention to go in there. Then I said no to my journalist friend only. I came to know about. I mean, the poet is very famous. Like there is a school in the name of
Right.
the
Okay.
poet, so everybody know the poet. And we in the school, we used to learn his poems and that. So he's a very prominent figure. Then through that friend, then I came to know, this studio holds something about this poet, but apart from that, there is
Ah,
no
okay.
information at all. So now, once I went into the studio, then I came to know about all those archives, what they have, and what Adimala Perumal have done by interviewing his wife. Adimala Perumal's wife was alive when I was interviewing her. She
Okay.
was very aged. Yeah, yeah, she was very very old, and the assistant who helped Adimala Perumal was around 80 years. Now he should be 90.
Hmm.
Then so all these photographs I got, but the his grandson have no idea about it. He's like, okay, my grandfather have done something, so I'm keeping it. That's it. Then I took it to the um, um, local historian. His name is A.K. Perumal. So he
Hmm.
was the one identified all those stories behind the photograph and the history,
Okay.
and who all are the people who came to visit him, and what were
Hmm.
his characters. He was able to give more perspective about this project, and
Right.
that's how things happened.
I'm just curious to know, did that in any way change how his grandson or his son were looking at the photographs that they had already? Had they gone through these photographs before? Did they know what was in the boxes of
I
film?
think
Or
they have gone through this photograph. They have gone through these photographs, but they actually had no interest on what to do with this photograph. And
hmm.
also, he said when his father, the grandson said when his father was a child, he used to break all those glass negatives and play. So that was their game. So they have
Oh
broken
God!
almost 3 to 4 sacks of glass negatives. Yeah. So because
Wow.
if he have photographed this much, I think he would have done more about his families or the neighborhood or the other things as well. So
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
those things are gone. And this one, no, he photographed him till his deathbed. So
Right.
this Kavimani is deathbed. So this is kind of a he's one of the earliest for me. He's one of the earliest long term photographer. You could say. Like he followed a person for
Absolutely.
a long time, because I am unable to follow one project for 4 5 years. That's tough for me,
Right.
and he have done that in a very nice way. And that time the transport was very hard, because the place where the photographer stayed and the poet stayed, is the distance will be around 7 to 8 kilometers, and every time he need to take the field camera on a bullock cart and he need to go there. So the preparation was so heavy, not like
Hmm.
today, and he done
Yeah.
exclusive work. And
Yeah, that's
these are the four.
really intense preparation, and it's a big dedication. It's a big commitment to make, to the point where, like you're showing us this slide, where these are images that then went on to Indian postage stamps, even like, and I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen these photographs of Kavimani's life, around us
Mm,
even more, because it's definitely a I think in many ways there must be something that Adi Mula Perumal must also be looking for, in that act of photographing this poet. I don't know if there's anything of that sort uh, that you found out about. Like, I'm just curious to know, like, what possessed this photographer to continue and follow this poet for years after year, you know, like it's is there any, I don't know if there's any information available on that, or anything the wife or children might have said?
See, the thing is, he have accepted him as a guru, like guru for his kind
Ah,
of life. I would say that because every new thing what he makes, then he is interested to show it to Kavimani, then get reviewed by him. You know, whether it
right,
is a poem or a painting or a photograph or whatever it is, then he is interested to get a review from him only. So for him, Kavimani is someone who's the on the like top of the advisory board for his life.
right,
So,
right.
I'll skip a little fast to
Yeah,
show.
I
This is
think
this
it
is
would
one of the
also be, once we've seen this, we can move into millennia of oppression as well, so
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. So the thing is, these are few photographs which he have photographed himself before his death. You know, 6 months before his death. So this is the only photograph which he is with beard and stuff. And this was one of the camera he have built, and he took it to Kavimani to show it and get it reviewed. Um,
hmm,
yeah.
very wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this. And as tough as it is to move away from this project, because there's literally so many questions coming up in my mind right now. I think what we can do is maybe head to millennia of oppression, which is the last of these projects that you have created, chronologically speaking, and also something that is probably where you were maybe more invested in the story, like, you know, your we saw how with Urban Mountains there was this inquiry that had almost started, this questioning that had started with you on what you on the kind of world that you were surrounded by. And uh, and I think with Urban Mountain, in some ways I feel like it might have triggered looking at what is the industry of waste disposal and hygiene and sanitation, you know, where is that going, who are the people involved with that, and did that maybe in some ways lead to millennia of oppression? How did millennia of oppression come into being?
Millennia of oppression is just an inquiry of how the caste evolved into a new system. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of backstories for that, which is maybe or may not relevant to what I have done. But you know, I was so long disturbed by this caste-related problems or caste issues. You know, then you know, like other problems, we used to just talk to our friends or like, you know, like
Right.
uh, just address, you know, this is the issue, but we don't know how to react. Then I was also interested in how this caste construct work in India. What how it is mm, getting into that. How do I put those words, like uh, why caste matters here, you know, in that way.
Hmm.
Um,
Today, you mean, like, why is it something that we are looking at even today and we're not moving away from it? Is that
kind
what
of,
you mean?
but all those importance which goes to the caste, no, all those caste pride, what
Hmm.
I was disturbed by that. Then
Right.
but I couldn't react at that time because I don't know how to do it. Then for my graduation project, by my guide Satyanand, then he was saying all those things what you're talking, why can't you do a project on it? Then I was looking into the caste system, but I don't want to just say, you know, the caste system is there and, you know, people are suffering from that and all those things. I don't want to talk. Then what I want to actually see in there is, you know, caste is something which dates back to thousand years. Okay, then uh, but people people who lived uh, in the past, like 2000 years old, then they followed it. Then in a timeline we have changed a lot. For example, we don't eat the same food and we don't live the same lifestyle, or the everything have changed, you know. But this caste is something which is which is from
Going
there
on.
to here it keeps on in growing stronger and stronger, getting into the new systems, and it is just prospering.
Hmm.
Then I was thinking how this particular caste is evolving into new. So where is the evolution happening? What is the new
Hmm.
system which the caste evolved into? So that is how I started looking into this marchery, because this marchery is something which is a byproduct of the English medicine, right? Allopathy. Then
Right.
it's a process of finding the cause of the death. It's a very scientific study, to be frank. But actually, what happens here, since Dalits are long back associated with the activities of death, for example, burying a dead body, or playing drums or
Bathing. Yeah.
music in front of the dead body, or anything related to death, that was
Hmm.
actually allocated to Dalits. Then
Hmm.
this one string which actually drags that new system. For
Hmm.
example, this postmortem is also a process which deals with death, actually.
Right.
So the Dalits were automatically, drawn into it. So the funny part is, postmortem is supposed to be done by the MD, which is the forensic pathologist.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
like masters of it. They are the only one who's eligible to do it, because MBBS itself not eligible actually. Now they are doing it with 6 months of training in the primary health center because of the lack of MDs. But
Right.
MDs are the only eligible person. But
Hmm.
here, since it is associated with Dalit related work, it's a kind of a menial job which Dalits are supposed to do. Then that responsibility of doing a postmortem was given to a sanitary worker. So here I see the evolution. It's a very new system which came very recent to Indian culture. This
Hmm.
English medicine, and there this caste system evolved. That's how I think these are the one few evolution happened to the caste system. So it is more stronger, getting stronger every day, but getting into new shape. Like it's caste is alive, but not in the same old fashion, but very
New
invisible, but more
concealed
stronger.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
more stronger. Okay, and so I started looking into these people who does postmortem, and then that's how this project started.
Right. Right. Can we maybe you can share more about the work as we see the images as well? That would be really nice. I mean, one of the things that did, come to mind, like what you were talking about was was this act of how there has been, like, I think with the shift in medicine that happened, uh, well, along quite a few decades ago, almost along with the creation of the independent India. Um,
Mm.
there is this thing that, I mean, at one point I was doing research on midwives, traditional midwives in India, and caste was something that actually came up very prominently within that as well, because the act of giving birth was always largely, not always, but largely prescribed to a woman who came from the Dalit community as well. It the act of delivering, for some reason that I still cannot understand, was considered an act of dealing with something that was polluted, you know, and
Mm.
so there were very specific Dalit women who came in, and there were generations, obviously, because the daughters would learn from their mothers, and they became kind of almost like families of midwives that did exist. And with medicine that came in, one of the things that happened was that there was a complete disregard for the knowledge that uh, that the traditional knowledge, let's say, that existed among these communities uh, about the human body, or about understanding, their methodologies. And it was basically like this, like you said, like this Western idea of medicine that was directly imposed. A hospital was built up, it led to the creation of an institution, and the same person who had a particular place, like, I think in many ways medicine was that one avenue, or that one space where caste ceased to exist in many ways, because the only person who was willing to in the case of the mortuary, the only person who has actually dealt with a deceased body is someone from a particular community, and therefore the knowledge that they have of that exists with the people of that community and not those who've kept away from it. And you bring in medicine, and you just negate that knowledge that they might also have. You just consider it irrelevant because only medicine comes into play. And it's very sad actually, because one is to think that if the mortuary was a space where that was considered only for a particular community to exist, then one would have imagined that the possibility to educate and to actually be charge of the mortuary should also go to them. And of course, that's not happened. A lot of the images that you have taken as part of this project, which started in 2016, but I believe is still going on, right? It's still a work in progress, if I'm not mistaken. And
work
I
in
think
progress, but I'm not shooting in the same pace.
right. I mean, a lot of the images that you have here also show that it's not just how the body is treated, but it's also how the people who are dealing with the body are treated more than anything else. And I mean, I know you started this a few years ago, but already I think just 4 years down the line, it seems almost impossible that one would be able to enter a space like this and photograph it in the way that you have. There's so many different kind of censorships that have taken place in the last few years, owing to various kinds of government policies even. Um, and I mean, I was curious to know, how do you see this work growing or evolving from the space that you do have? I know that a lot of what you photographed was in Chennai itself. I mean, did you shoot outside of Chennai as well?
It's in Tamil Nadu, like
It's in Tamil Nadu. Okay, all over
to,
Tamil Nadu. Okay.
yeah.
Uh, but now when you go back, I mean, are there specific things that you are looking for within the work? Are they, particular questions that you have that can hopefully, photography can become a way to kind of access those questions?
See, if I go back again, then the things I'm going to photograph is not the same which I have already done,
Hmm.
because when I was doing this project, I, for the limited time which is provided, then I could able to photograph the day-to-day activities or the things which happens inside the mortuary. Apart from that, the project is not about how to do a postmortem. It's about the people who does the postmortem. So
Right.
the more thing to show the people, that is actually, I feel it's somewhat uh, missing. Like missing in the sense, I need more. I mean, more of that. Then I need to concentrate on the people's life away from mortuary, or even if it is in mortuary, not while working. Like there
Hmm.
is also other parts, right? But
Hmm.
the sad part over here, even at the free times at mortuary, I mean, while having a tea or a lunch, they does everything inside the mortuary. So from morning to evening, when they enter into the hospital, this is the Anshika, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me, Arun?
Yes.
We just had a little bit of a power outage. I just lost some electricity in the house. Guys, can we switch on the generator?
Hello?
Hi, Arun. Can you see me?
No, I couldn't. Now I can see.
Sorry, we had a electricity power cut in the house. Sorry. We've just had a little bit of that. But am I audible for you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's continue.
Where were you? So even if we are even if I photograph them in their free time, all their life moments around this mortuary only in that particular
Hmm.
block. They don't go and mingle with other departments.
Right.
uh, Rarely, I mean, whenever the shift got over by 4 o'clock, if there is a less postmortem for a day,
Mm-hmm.
then 1 or 2%, especially there's a maestri, he is interested in gardening as well. So because he migrated from Andhra, then he started his career as um, a sanitary worker. Then because he is a sanitary worker, he got a job in this government hospital. Then slowly he started cleaning the corridors and the toilets, then the mortuary. Then he was asked by the doctors to shift the dead bodies from the freezer room to the table, then to
Okay.
clean the bodies, then slowly to assist the doctors. Then he gradually got frequently go to the other space for like gardening stuff, like because of his interest. Apart from that, most of the persons who work there, their life revolves only inside that block.
Right. And you did mention that they don't end up moving out. Is that, I mean, is there a taboo to the work? Is that one of the reasons? I don't know if you'd addressed that in
And
that.
Anshika, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me well right now? Hi, Arun, can you hear me? Hello? Arun, can you hear me?
Now, yes.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to kind of, I was just asking, I'm sorry if you might have already addressed this, but I just wanted to know when you mentioned that these were people who almost kind of stayed separate from, the rest of the mortuary or other people who might be working there, or even outsiders in general. I mean, is that a segregation that's happening based on caste? Is it because of the taboos of the work that they do?
I think the taboo of the work only, because until they get cleaned themselves, like generally the shift will get over by 4 o'clock. After 4 o'clock, there won't be any postmortem.
Mhm.
So by 4 o'clock, they will get ready. They will take bath, then wear they change the uniform. After that, they will just go and talk to other departments. But
Right,
that happens rarely, because by then, no, they will be tired and they will just try to go to their home.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt in the middle. I was just, I think my question came to you a little later because of our power cut here. But please do continue with
Mm.
what you were sharing. And at this stage, were you able to also share? I mean, were you able to go to these people's homes or have a conversation with them about that? Was it something you're
See,
even thinking about at this stage?
I asked them, then, mm, actually the people who work here, they don't reveal to their neighborhoods they are working inside a mortuary and doing autopsy. So
Hmm.
they mostly say they are nurse assistant or housekeeping employees. So
Right,
if a person like me, when we go there and take out the camera and photograph, then it will create the curiosity among the residents, to why he is
hmm.
there. Then the truth may come out. So they don't encourage anybody to come to their home. But they took me to their the housing board colony,
Hmm.
but they didn't take me to their houses. So I mean,
Right,
they asked someone else to guide me, to go through the place, and this is the place, because they already said to me, this is the scene. We don't have any issue taking
hmm.
anybody to our home, but this is the problem. So let's keep
Right,
it very silent. So
right.
this is one problem. And other thing, when they go back, I mean, they dress up very well in the sense, to hide all those mortuary things. So they put the hospital name and the doctor logos on the bike.
Right, right.
A few things will happen. So to project themselves as a doctor assistant or a nurse assistant, or who is working in a laboratory, something like that. Not as a person who is working inside a mortuary. or else they will say, I'm a sanitary worker there. And these are the
Okay.
ID cards which is provided to them, and which says sanitary worker or housekeeping
Housekeeping.
employee, and but they are actually doing something else.
Right. Right. And
And
I mean, sorry.
he's the person who I was talking about, that experienced
Ah,
Maestri. He's actually retired, and due to lack of employees, the government requested him to come back again and work. And he is interested in gardening. He was the one who will go and do gardening when he gets some free time.
okay. I also just wanted to know, you've of course you've spent a couple of years, if not more, consistently being in Tamil Nadu and traveling to document this work. Um, but it's not complete, right? It's still kind of in process. And what are the some of the things that you had in mind? Uh, what is it that you were looking to document uh, to add to this story right now? Hello. Arun, can you hear?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I mean, what I was just gently what I wanted to know was that from here, because the work is still in progress, what do you think is missing right now? What is it that you wanted to add to this conversation about who's working in the mortuary, and also how the people who are in, who are working in the mortuary, it's a systemic action that is impacted by a caste system that's been ingrained in this country for centuries now. So what is it that you're hoping to add in the coming years as you continue to shoot this project?
First thing is about their personal life, if they allow me, and that's one thing I am trying to concentrate. And other thing is, I'm done with all those postmortem stuff. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, there is I feel that's more than enough to show this much. Then what are the other uh, perspective of those people? What they does, and I mean, I need to know more about them. Like,
Right.
that's what I'm thinking. Because and also I don't know what actually to expect from them, because if I think due to time, uh, when I spend with them, uh, when I spend more enough time with them, then I think I will come up with something.
Hmm.
This is what I need to know about them, because I'm also somewhat new to this, right? Because I was
Right.
just looking to the evolution of caste here. So
Hmm. Well, we shall wait and see as the work develops more and more. And I believe you'd like this to be a book as well, slowly, right?
yeah, I'm working on a book, and I got reviews from few good people. Then
Mm-hmm.
after getting the review only, actually I stopped making the book for a while, because few things which is missing in that book, to convert this work in a book form.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are a lot of things been addressed, that these are the things got missing. Then I think I need more time, and um, actually time only to go back and shoot. So if I shoot, then I will come up with something better.
Right. And but you'd like to keep going back to Tamil Nadu itself, or because you're now in Kanyakumari, are you looking to expand it, expand the
That's
geography?
geography. If I get access, actually, if I get
Right.
access, I'm interested to go and do it in Calcutta as well, because I heard that in Calcutta there is a family who's actually doing it. I mean, generation wise.
Okay.
So that is more interesting, because here, um, the persons who I have photographed, they are not doing it generation wise.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
They're everyone is the first generation over here.
Right. Um, Arun, we've gone a little over time, but we have some questions. And I was wondering if maybe this is a good time for us to start addressing those questions. I know Vasant, who's joined us, has a couple for sure. And then there are a few more other questions. Should we move to some questions right now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So actually, I'll start with Vasant because he sent in this message quite earlier in the chat. Um, Vasant wanted to know, what are the avenues or opportunities available for earning an income while pursuing these wonderful projects? What kind of support is available for such work? Do you want to address that?
How to say that, I got few recognitions through photo festivals, and I haven't got any grants, but some um, some remunerations from photo festivals I got. That is one thing.
Okay.
But
Hmm.
right now, that is one big reason which is lagging to continue this project is, to think about the survival, today's survival.
Right.
That's why I work on other things to get money as an NGO photographer, or all other jobs to support these projects.
Right, right. I mean, it's interesting, and if I may say a little bit on this, if you don't mind, Arun, um, is also that I think there is some. I mean, there are fundings that are also available in some ways, but mostly what I have found is that there are fundings that are catered to very specific kind of final projects, maybe, and what I think what would be wonderful actually to see over here is funding and grants that actually allow a photographer to just question what he's doing, even if the end might not be a final finished product. But I think right now the grants and funds that do exist are also to say that over this period of time, like this is what I will finish, and that can often be difficult because especially in works like this, a lot is dependent on who you are speaking with, and the amount of time it takes for them to become comfortable with you being around, and sometimes that 1 year, which is usually a grant giving time, might not be enough. um, so I think, I mean, there are some support spaces that do exist, there are some grants that do exist, uh, but well, more is always encouraged, you know in such a scenario. Vasant also wanted to know, who are the photographers whose work you admire or find meaningful?
Very, I cannot narrow it down and say, these are the photographers who I admire, because I admire a lot of photographers for different reasons. So
Right.
I can just say one or two.
If you'd like to share, that would be nice, but totally up to you.
Mm, how to say?
What if I may ask you one more follow-up question to Vasant, is I think what I would like to also know is, I mean, when you're looking at a photographer's work, what kind of things is it that you're looking for, in a photographer's practice? Like, what is it that you admire about, whether it's technical perfection, whether it is engagement with subject, like, is there something that you really appreciate within some photographers' works?
mm, this is actually very tough for me to answer, because um, actually I don't know how to answer for this question.
Okay, we will address this at a later point then, Vasant. Karthikeya wanted to know, how did you identify that the ones who did the postmortem in current scenario are Dalits as well? Could you share how you went about this?
So while photographing them only, like before even photographing them, I used to talk to them. Then I explain why I want to photograph them. All those general, basic stuff what we need to do before we do the project. Then at that time, I incurred this is a cast evolution finding work. So this is my intent to do this work. So uh, I need to know about your caste as well. Like, are you Dalit, or then how you came here? This is how I know. Then that's how I came to know all those. people who work there are the people who I met as a mortuary workers at Dalits.
Right. Praneeth Reddy just wanted to know, Praneeth says, lovely work. Thank you for documenting this. Due to the nature of the work, there might have been some hesitance from those involved. What was the most challenging process you faced in your journey to photograph millennia of oppression?
So the thing is, going into mortuary was the first initial hard task for me because I was not used to it, right? So I had difficulties going there. That was the biggest challenge I faced. Apart from that, I don't think so. There was much challenge.
Okay. It's interesting that you said that because
And also,
Alicia,
this
sorry.
Karthikeyan is saying like what would be the reason for the official medical practitioner not doing the postmortem themselves. Actually, we cannot say they won't do because a postmortem is supposed to happen for like 2 hours or something, but it will happen for only 20 minutes because
Hmm.
we have a lack of doctors and there are too many dead bodies to be postmortem. And when the postmortem happens, the doctor will be there, and he'll be the one who documents all those cause of the death. I mean, he does the report works, and the sanitation workers are there to do the work. So the postmortem will be happening in front of the
Mhm.
doctors only.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to move from here to Alicia's questions. Alicia has two questions she says, stemming from my own experience of photographing in hospitals, though not mortuaries. One, did Arun ever speak to them about whether they were haunted by the dead in any way? Uh, was he ever haunted in his dreams by what he photographed? Two, what kind of questions did they ask him about his interest in their mortuary work?
See, about the ghost, no, the most of the workers who work there, they believe in ghost, and they have a different theory for the ghost. For example, when there is a
Sorry, Arun, there is a little, I think there's a network error. I can't hear you very well.
can you hear me now?
Your voice is breaking a
Hello.
slight bit. Yeah, this is better.
Now, am I audible?
Now I think, yeah.
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
Yes,
You hear me?
yes, yes, very much so.
Okay. So the thing is, actually the workers over here they believe in ghost, and the doctors refers the ghost as infection. Okay, so that is
Okay.
the contradiction because
Hmm.
when the personal incident was there was a 16-year-old schoolgirl committed suicide and the postmortem was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then the workers were advising me, you should and we should not give any place to emotions here. We should see it as a study because if you being a pervert in your mind, secret, so this ghost will definitely come and haunt you.
Okay.
That was the theory they had, with respect to the woman's body, and these are the things they advise to the juniors. And for themselves, what they does, they will be worshipping the god little more furiously because they believe all those things they do does to the body should not come back to them. And the doctor said that throughout their experience they haven't faced anything as a ghost or something, but they know these infections because every time you get ill, I mean the infections. One time I got infected, and that's what the doctor said to me. You are infected because for 1 week I was completely in the sense I don't have any fever or cold, but I was extremely tired and I couldn't do anything.
Hmm.
So then the doctor said it is one form of infection. So that's what the people associate with ghost. I couldn't move. The ghost haunted me.
That's so interesting. It's like their own, I mean, it's its own myth making, in some very interesting way. And I can imagine a lot more questions in my head coming up. Uh, but Alicia says that she also came across many ghost theories related to the kind of infection and the age and the condition of the body. So that might be something that might be happening across the globe. Um, uh, Also, Alicia wanted to know what kind of questions did the people working in the mortuary ask you about your interest in their work?
Yeah, they just imagine first, I'm here to collect the story for a movie. Then I would say, it's not a movie, it's about a photography project because they actually not interested or they are not very aware of this photography projects. So
Hmm.
I couldn't convey, what is a photography project to them. So
Right.
they understand what I'm doing, but what they know is, I'm collecting a story and taking this photograph. So, but they don't know what is the final form. But when they
Hmm.
saw the exhibition at Chennai Photo Biennale, then they came to
Hmm.
know, okay, something like this. This is what he is trying to do. So
Right.
that's how
Right.
they, yeah.
But did they see the images before the festival by any chance?
Before, I mean, every time I photograph, then I do a prints. No, I give it to them,
Ah,
and few
okay.
pictures they will like. They will say, I want this to be in this size printed. So
Oh,
I
that's
will
very
give them.
nice.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
those
I'm
things.
curious. I'm curious to know that, since while you were photographing and then you were sharing the images with them, and they were obviously aware of what you were doing then when you were behind the camera. Uh, did they at any point have suggestions or ideas on like things that you could photograph or they felt needed to be photographed? Was that ever a conversation that happened between you guys?
Yeah, this the 2 feet no on a floor which is covered with blood.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually suggested by that Mestri only. So you're saying this is one important problem you need to address because the pipelines get clogged very often and the blood will come out. So the floor will be completely
Okay.
flooded with blood. You are saying, in a way that you need to concentrate on this and you need to write it because this is the biggest problem we are facing. All those things. So these kind of photographic perspectives they also give it to me. You
Right.
need
Right.
to
And were there
think
any
like
images that they did not like and they said, don't show this or anything of that sort?
um, I mean, there are a lot which all conclude into the same point because one condition the, the the face of the dead body should not be actually very visible. The second
Okay.
thing is the private parts. So
Hmm.
these are the two the doctors as well as the mortuary workers both of them convey to me and when accidentally because while the moving the body all those things now every time one or
Hmm.
two pictures will be out of control then they will be saying I don't want my picture with this one that
Hmm.
that kind of stuff will happen.
Right, right. I'm just going to move to Aman Singh, um, who wanted to know what was your mental state while carrying the project Millennium of Oppression? When you came back home, did the dead bodies bother your mental health? In case you want to add anything to what we've been discussing.
My parents know, my parents and my family know about I'm doing the project. My parents was okay because it's academic, so they're like, okay. And most of my family was saying, since you are doing this only,
Sorry, Arun, I think
was
I'm
formative.
losing you
And
again.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Now,
You're breaking up.
and now,
Ooh, sorry, guys. I think Arun might rejoin because his internet in Kanyakumari isn't very stable right now. If you can give us a second, and then Prachi, we will get back to your question. Thank you so much for those of you who've been um, patiently waiting. Though we've had a series of technical glitches this evening. Um, I'm just going to take this little break to announce something that actually Vasant has shared with us right now, and this is for all photographers who might be here practicing photographers who might have projects going on. Uh, but Photo South Asia is actually very interested in supporting photographers and photographic work within the region, and they're really open to helping photographers get funding or look at whatever support they might need, specifically during the pandemic. Um, Arun has already been interviewed by Photo South Asia up until now, and they'll be launching a website soon. Vasant, actually, what might be really helpful is if you can share an email address with me. I can read it out for our photographers here. And if any of you would like to reach out to Vasant with a proposal or an idea that you do have in mind, um, you can write to him. I mean, Vasant, you asked for this, so I think you might get a lot of people writing to you. But I have just shared the email address on our chat. It is vasant@murthinayak.org, vasant@murthynayak.org. And you can reach out to him, you can share your ideas with him, and hopefully that might mean you can move to the next stage of wanting to complete your project. Um, I think we are unfortunately having a little bit of an issue. I've just got a message from Arun who's trying to log in again. So give me 1 second and then he's coming back online. Until then, since we do have this moment here, if there's any feedback that you have for offset projects, or if there's any feedback in specific to the Guftgu program, we're always open to more conversations on this. You can write to us at offsetprojects@gmail.com. I will also share that with you on our chat, so you can, if you have feedback, if you have criticism, if you have ideas, which we are always excited to kind of work on, please write to us. Please share whatever's going on in your heads with us, because I feel that's the only way that we will all be able to grow together. Unfortunately, it seems Arun might not be able to come back in. Prachi, what I can do is that I can direct his question to you. And if you would like to share your email ID, we can write back to you with a response. But unfortunately, I think we might not be able to have Arun come back in. His screen has frozen a bit. These are things I think we'll have to navigate as we move along our slowly evolving virtual worlds. But thank you for joining in. Next week, we will have another photographer from Tamil Nadu actually join us. Jai Singh Nageshwaran will be sharing his works, in fact, with us next Friday, which I believe, I'm very bad with dates, but give me a second and I'll be able to tell you. Yeah. So next Friday at 6 p.m., which is the 16th of October, we'll see you guys again, and have a great weekend until then. And 1 second, I think we do have Arun. Arun, are you there? That's a very different face that you are seeing on the loading screen.
Hello.
Hi, Arun.
Yeah.
I got you back.
I joined from mobile.
Perfect. I think we were just wrapping up, but there is one question that I think you can now answer. Prachi has a question which says she wanted to know, when it comes to sensitive projects like this, a lot depends on access to places and people. My question is, how do you assure your subjects of your intentions or create a safe, comfortable space for them, since they are already working in very stressful conditions?
Um, so the thing is, the concern what I have now, like what I'm looking through this project, and they also have the same concern actually.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that is one point which made me do this work, or to support it to do this work, because the intent of both the people are same. Like they also
Hmm.
have worried about why this is happening, but they don't know how to express in a way. I mean, because the doctors are, there are also doctors who are fighting against the rights for these mortuary workers, because they are getting paid for only the sanitary worker, but the job what they're
Hmm.
doing is much more than that. So what they're trying to do is, get them a little bit of training. I mean, official training. They are already trained, but official training, and give them a designation of those doctor assistant or lab assistant. Then that when there is an accident happens in the mortuary also, they could claim it, or the
Hmm.
government will take care of it. Right now there is officially there is no backup for them, because they are actually sanitary worker. Even though if anything happens through post-mortem, then they
There's
cannot
no
claim it. So
insurance.
doctors are fighting in a very little way, and they are not fighting, but they are also concerned about, what is their situation. So that is
Hmm.
how things work.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that, Arun. And thank you for logging back in. I'm so glad Prachi could hear the response directly from you. We were trying to figure out a way to have you email her your response, but this works out very, very well. And thank you for giving us so much time today. See you guys next week. Yeah. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Arun.
Thank you so much, Sanchika. Bye.
Bye bye.